Hi, I'm Imi, and Andy is hiding under the desk.
I'm not hiding anywhere.
Today, we're going to be talking about how we built this relationship intentionally and about how Andy insists I do an intro this morning and that it's going to be silly.
Surprised everybody. You didn't expect that I was down here. All right, we're going to get straight. See, I surprised everyone. Jump scare. I forgot to give a little jump scare warning. We're going to talk about this relationship, this,
Hi.
us, this relationship, and how we built it intentionally and how it didn't just randomly happen, not
Mm.
at all. And this was sort of sparked by a conversation with one of my coaching clients yesterday where he was talking about what he's looking for is something a little bit more long term. He's basically looking for a girlfriend that would then become a wife and then have kids together and live happily ever after and frolic in the fields with the flowers and have a beautiful time,
Mm.
right? But he had sort of a little bit of a passive mindset with it, which is something I think a lot of people have where they're just like, I'm going to just find the one
Mm.
and they will be perfect for me and we'll have a beautiful relationship and everything will be sunshine and rainbows and wonderful and all of that. And we had a big discussion about how much of our relationship, and there's a couple of other people in the coaching program who are in a long term relationship too, and how much all of our relationships were built intentionally.
Mm.
And we weren't perfect, polished diamonds when we first met. You and I definitely were not. We're still not right now. But we've worked on slowly improving this a little bit over time. And we've
Mm.
been very, very intentional about that and deliberate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just as you said, sometimes there can be the temptation to be trying to find the perfect person
Yeah, I'm going to find the
to
perfect person. Yeah.
But I think
No.
the nature of being with another person, especially if you're planning on being with them for a long period of time, is that you're going to have to figure out how to work together because
Mm,
everybody's going to have their own uniqueness and their own things that make them them. And there's going to be unique combinations as to how you fit together and work together and things that you
100%.
work through. And so there's going to be things to build and learn and ways that you can grow together so that you can be like a happy, thriving couple. And we've certainly put a lot of time and effort and had hours and hours and hours of conversations
Tens of thousands of hours of conversations. Yeah.
towards figuring out how we work together in so many ways, whether that's, living spaces or personality types or views around money or expressions
Hmm.
of love, like whatever it might be, because we have our own things that are unique, our own thoughts, our own beliefs, there's going to be a unique way that those fit together. And it's about finding the ways that they do. And that takes intentional time to figure out those things.
Yeah, because you're going to make a whole lot of mistakes and really they're just learning lessons. But the key point is this: a lot of you listening are at the stage where you're just dating casually. Maybe you're looking for casual sex with one partner, multiple partners, doesn't matter. But a lot of you listening, a big part of this audience is here for just casual sex. But a lot of you, most of you, have the idea that in your mind, eventually you want to get to a relationship. You're just going through like your little hoe phase. I say that with love. I went through a little hoe phase as well. Slutting it up, having a great time, building your sexual repertoire, having some great experiences with people, and then later on you want to build something a bit more serious. Understand that when you're at that point where you're ready for a relationship or you're ready to start building or looking for a relationship, you might not have all of the relationship skills. We didn't. There are certain skills in relationships or certain things that you will do to make a relationship successful that you did not have to even consider when you were just having casual sex, such as how to learn to be okay with the fact that sometimes you won't like your partner. Sometimes you will be grumpy, or you'll be going through some stuff, or your partner will do something that you're a little bit emotional about. Like maybe they don't put their socks away, or they don't clean the kitchen, or whatever it might be. And you might get some emotions. When you're just in a casual relationship, you can just be like, I don't give a fuck what she does in her kitchen. Who cares? We're just having sex. And if I really don't like something that he or she is doing, I'll just go home. I'll get over it and I'll see them a week later and it will be sunshine and rainbows. But when you're in a deep relationship with someone, you're probably spending every single day with them. You don't have to be, but most people in a relationship do. We see each other literally every single day,
Mm.
multiple times a day. And you're just in each other's space a lot more. And so you will need to learn the skills of communication, of letting go, of realizing that some things are not a big deal and picking your battles, so to speak. Not that we have a battle, but like letting most of the shit go. That's not a skill that you learn when you're having casual sex. Because with casual sex, here's another thing: if you really get annoyed by what somebody does, you can just break up with them. And there's no real investment. Maybe you guys have been seeing each other for a while, so there's a little bit of sadness or whatever, but you get over it pretty quickly. But we've been together for what, 6.5 years at this point?
Yeah, and I think the expectation changes when you're in a long-term relationship because you
Yeah,
know you're not going to break up with somebody over
because they
something,
didn't do the dishes. Yeah.
yeah, over something trivial. But that being said, I think, at least for me, like where a lot of the feelings or frustrations have come from when it's been working through some of these things, is there the sense of like, Jesus Christ, how long am I gonna have to put up with this forever? Like, am I going to just have to like make peace with this habit constantly? Like it's like every single day for potentially indefinitely. And I think that can be a source of frustration of like, I just don't want this to keep happening anymore. And
And
I,
then at some point you realize it was your problem to begin with. Like you and
yeah,
I have both let go of so many things that we were like, oh my God, am I going to have to put up with her doing this? And then at some point you're like, wait, this is my problem. I'm the one that's complaining that she doesn't do the dishes. Why don't I just do the fucking dishes? Or just accept that she doesn't give a fuck about the dishes?
yeah. And I think there's obviously occasions in which like you can kind of meet a happy
Yeah.
kind of middle where one person's willing to change their behavior a little
Mm,
bit and the other person's willing to let go a little bit, and so it does
mm,
reach that medium, but it's finding all of those small solutions for I guess each thing that comes up. But yes, as you said, a lot of the time it just requires your own letting go of the thing. And I think that sometimes like even things like we probably keep a house very differently.
Yeah, you and I
And
have completely different ideas of how we like our houses to be. That's why we live separately.
yeah, and that was just something where like it took so much letting go from me because it felt like I was constantly coming up around behind you and cleaning when we were living together,
Mm,
that it felt so much more peaceful and so much more simple that we just live very close to one another but
mm,
separately.
mm.
So we can keep our space exactly as we'd like to keep our space.
Yeah, in other words, relationships are this beautiful opportunity. Like I'm talking about deeper relationships rather than just casual. They're a great opportunity to figure out how to problem solve with another person
Mm.
and see the other person as on the same team as you. That's why I encourage all of you to have that mindset in casual dating. If you're just going out and hooking up and having sex, you can still see the other person as your teammate, as on your team, because you're practicing then for when you do get into a relationship or start building one. Because holy fuck, yeah, the relationship's not going to go very smoothly and you're both not going to have much fun if you see them as the enemy, which, spoiler alert, I'm sure you're all going to know what I'm about to say. Lots of people do see their partner in a relationship as the enemy. And oh my God, that's not a very fun way to live.
Mm.
You know, you shit talk your partner behind their back to your friends. You criticize everything they do. You see yourself as the victim and you see your partner as the person who's doing this to me. Like, why is my partner not cleaning the kitchen? You know, she's fucking me over by doing this. Why does my boyfriend like not buy me flowers? Like, he's a bad boyfriend. He's hurting me. It's like he's not doing jack shit. That's the
Mm.
point. He's literally not doing anything. He's not buying you flowers. It's not good. It's not bad. You're not a victim. He's not the perpetrator. But a lot of people can fall into that trap in relationships. It's very tempting to fall into that. And so the more you can see people, even in casual relationships, as a potential teammate or as a human being just trying to do their best,
Mm.
then the smoother it'll go when you get into a relationship. And these are all skills that you learn and that we put a lot of effort
Yeah, because
into
it takes
learning.
time. It is like a perfect test of your patience. And, you know, you might
Oh my
think
God.
you're a really like fantastic patient partner. And if
We
one,
both did. Hey,
mm,
no, I did. I honestly, I was like, I'm stoic. I'm
mm,
so chill. I'm like a little fucking alpha male. I'm a stoic red pill alpha male man.
mm.
And then the further our relationship got,
And it's always easier at the start too. I think you have that ego at the start of like, we never fight and everything's easy. And it's
yeah.
because it's only at the beginning and you're so willing to put up with whatever because you're like,
And you're
you've got very
happy.
strong
Yeah.
feelings and it's all new and you're like, it's fine, I don't mind. But after like 5 years of the same thing that you actually do mind a little bit, it's like, no,
This
this is
pissing me off. Why
actually
are you doing
annoying
this to me?
me.
I told so many stories of things you were doing to me as
Mm,
well. I was like, how could she be doing this to me? And it's like, bro, she's not doing anything. Like, remember when you used to binge eat a lot more and you had bulimia?
mm,
I used to take both of those things so personally, which is like fucking hilarious. And so if you would ever, be bulimic, I would literally take that personally. I'd be like, she's hurting me. Like when she hurts herself, she's hurting me. How could she do this to me? And it's like, bro, this has like literally nothing to do with you, dog.
Yeah, and
Or when
we
you
had
binge eat,
conversations around all that stuff, and I'd be like,
yeah,
it's got nothing to do with you, and you'd be like, it is because I'm like
it is
dealing
like
with
I'm your
it.
partner.
And
You don't understand how this affects me. And it's like, bro, calm the fuck down. Do you understand how this conversation might be affecting her? And then vice versa. There would be so many times where you would put your like money stress maybe onto me and be like, how are you doing this to me? You're doing this to me. You're, making me feel uncomfortable with money. If I would buy like a soft drink or something, or if I would buy like, what do they call it in America? DoorDash. Like we've both had so many times where we will put our emotions on the other person and be like, how are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? But it's like, I'm not doing anything to you, actually, technically, if you look at it. So, yeah, that's been a learning process too, is like
yeah,
not painting ourselves as the victim, which is very fucking tempting in relationships and life in general.
yeah, and circling back to like believing that you're almost perfect, or like you said, like perfectly stoic. The nature of it is that like each person. So, say a particular relationship ends, and you feel like you still did a very good job at being patient or understanding your partner's differences. When you then, generally speaking, get in a relationship with a new person, they're going to have their own things
Oh,
that maybe
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you don't realize will affect you. And we've kind of said this before, that like you think that if I was, with a partner that spent money differently or had the same views that I have around money, that there'd be something else that you do, like that you do that they don't do, that would then like frustrate me. Like everyone's going to have their own things.
Yeah, and it's so easy when you're with your partner, like, man, why can't I find a husband who like takes out the trash and just does what I want, and keeps the house clean? It's like, okay, yeah, but if you went out and found that man, he would probably just have some other thing you don't like. And then you'd be like, fucking hell, why can I now not find? So I found a man who can take the trash out. Why can't I find a man who will buy me flowers? So then you find a guy who takes the trash out and buys you flowers. And now you're like, yeah, but he doesn't like fucking scratch my head at night and scratch me behind the ear like a puppy dog and say, "Good girl, I love." Like whatever weird shit that it is that your brain tells you that you need in order to be happy, and that would just go on ad infinitum. That'll go on forever. There'll
Yeah.
always be something that annoys you in a relationship.
Because the brain loves finding like issues or
Finding fault,
problems.
making itself the victim. That's just the structure of our brain. Yeah.
And I think with that as well, like it's okay. Like it's okay if you're not perfectly patient or you've had a lot of practice and you've worked a lot on being, I guess, stoic or understanding or letting go. And there's still new things that come up that frustrate you. Like even for each of us, like sometimes we'll have days where things about one another frustrate each other.
Mm.
And you're like, I thought I let go of this. I thought I was more patient and loving and more peaceful than this. And it's like, it's okay if
100%. Yeah.
you get frustrated sometimes. The nature, especially like you said, when you're with somebody most of the time, they are going to see the days where you're not having your best day.
Yeah, and those are a beautiful opportunity. Like, I think that's been the biggest switch with us in the first 4 years of our relationship. Anytime we were frustrated at each other, we would feel so many emotions and we would paint it as a bad thing. And we'd say, first of all, I feel guilty that I'm annoyed at you over such a small thing. So now I'm feeling guilt and shame. I worry that I will always be stressed about this and I'll never get over it. So now I'm feeling fear too. You would then feel, or the other person would then feel defensiveness, and maybe they would attack you or argue or at least just defend. And defending is attacking. It's exactly the same thing. The first act of war is defense, or defense is the first act of war, as Byron Katie says. And so we'd be feeling all of these emotions and basically saying, it's an awful thing that I'm annoyed right now. And we just escalate it and make it worse. But I think one thing that we've learned over the last couple of years that we're now pretty decent at is in those moments where it's like, I don't feel good, or I'm grumpy at you, or I'm frustrated by something that you're doing, we now see that as an opportunity. We're like, brilliant. This is my shit to work through. This is such a great opportunity. I'm pissed off at her that she didn't clean the kitchen or didn't do the dishes or something. That's my shit to work on. I can investigate that and say, she should do the dishes every single time that I want her to. Is that true? Well, no. I don't do every single thing that she wants me to do at the exact fucking moment that she wants me to do it, in the exact fucking way that she wants me to do it. And if she expected that of me, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to be in a relationship like that. Hang on, so why am I putting that expectation on her? It's funny how that works. A lot of the time we expect of our partner something that we are absolutely not even remotely willing to give ourselves, which is perfection. and that they would stop being a human being with, emotions and shit that they're dealing with and all of that. Well, like, you should put all of that aside and do what I want. If you loved me, you do what I want. We used to have that story. We would literally say that to each other. It's like, if you really loved me, you'd do what I want. And at some point we were like, wait, I don't think that's a fair burden to put on the other person, because I don't want that burden on myself. And so, yeah, I think we've gotten a lot better at realizing that our frustrations come from us, and then we project that on the other person and say, you're doing this to me, you're the perpetrator, I'm the victim. But really, it was my own unhappiness. Right, let me go inside myself, let me clean that up, let me figure out why I'm annoyed, let me reframe it and use the tools that I put, like, in my Play to Win video course. Let me learn how to be a bit more stoic. I'll handle my shit. And the thing that's helped us do that a lot is just saying, hey, I'm just going to go be by myself for a little bit, or just give me some space for like a couple hours, or I'm just going to go chill and do my own shit. I'm going for a walk, or I'm just going to spend the rest of the day by myself. We clean that up within like maybe half an hour or an hour. Like, we're so much quicker at that than we used to be. It used to take us days to get over our frustrations. Now it's like an hour.
I think as well, because when you're in the moment and you're feeling all of those emotions and that frustration or anger or whatever it might be, it's very hard, like when you're still with the person who you're putting your
Who's like, it's
frustration
like they're a
on.
trigger, and they're going to continue triggering you without even meaning to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so then it actually becomes very hard to let go of that thing, especially
Yeah.
because there's often the urge to say something and maybe start
You
an
got to
argument or
you
tell
got to
them what they're
get
doing
your little
wrong.
comment in there and attack and
And then,
defend. And
yeah, and then if the other person defends, then it might make you more angry. So it can be so helpful just to have, or it's been a very helpful thing for us to have time away from the person, because then you realize that it's not that important. And you kind of, if anything, just let the emotions dissipate a little bit, because when you go about your day and you start doing other things and other activities that occupy your attention, the emotions do fade away. Like the
100%.
frustration fades away, and then when you kind of come back to the problem when you're feeling a little bit less emotional, it doesn't feel so important anymore. Like, and it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
And I definitely notice that too. Like if I'm tired or not having the best day, like little things that don't usually get to me will. And that's usually a good signal to myself to either just have some alone time or just like sleep it off basically and have a good sleep. And usually the next day you end up feeling a bit better about it, and it's not such a big deal.
Yeah, take a bit of chill time for sure.
Yeah. And I think in terms of like other tangible things, like obviously you've spoken about like having time to yourself, and we've spoken more broadly about, I guess, the idea of letting go or being more stoic or realizing that it's your own problem. And I think there's also lots of more tangible, like thought challenging exercises, like little exercises where you can like ask yourself questions, answer the questions, whether that's on paper or in your own head, to help you break down some of the beliefs that you have about like what your partner like should be doing. And obviously you mentioned in the Play to Win video course, there's like a huge amount of different techniques that we like to use. But maybe if we were to give some now, one that we talk about a lot is Byron Katie's
Yeah.
The Work.
The work, yeah.
And just reading her book is probably the easiest way to go through that. But you basically ask yourself the questions of like, you have your statement. So maybe it is, my partner should take out the rubbish. And you ask the question, is that true? And generally speaking, your answer to that, if you're frustrated by it, is like, yes, that's true.
Yes,
They
this
should
stupid
be doing
bitch
that.
should take out the trash. Fucking bitch, why isn't she doing it? Yeah, your brain might say that.
And then the next question is, can you absolutely know that that is true, that they should be taking out like the trash? And the knee-jerk reaction is often to be like, yes, I do absolutely know, like, fuck off. But the whole point of that question is to really get in there and say, like, without a doubt, with 100% conviction, like gun to your head, should they be in every like version of this universe, in every iteration, should they be the one taking
in
out
other
the
words,
trash?
you're basically saying, hello, everyone. I am fucking God. I am divine creator of the universe, and I get to say what absolutely should be done. And I have declared and decreed it on this day that my partner absolutely should take out the trash. I know what would be in their best interest. I know what would be best for them. I know what would be best for me. I know what would be best for the entire fucking universe, and I have decided that they should take out the trash. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my TED Talk. Go take out the trash. That's basically what the ego, what the brain wants to say. It wants to just go around and say, hello, everyone, I am God. And who needs God when we have my opinion? I'm going to say how the world should work, how everyone should operate, what everyone should do. That's most people. That's why people get so emotional about politics and left versus right. It's the brain just going a little bit haywire, the ego part of us going haywire and saying, hello, everyone. I know everything and I'm correct about every opinion I have. And all of your opinions are wrong because they're not mine. And that's the only measure of like evidence that I need that my opinion is correct. It's mine. It's my opinion, so it's correct. And that's how most people live their lives, where they believe everything that's in their head by default. They had a thought, so it must be true. And so you can kind of play around with that and be like, can I absolutely know it's in my partner's best interest to take out the trash? Maybe he's tired and he had a really long day at work and he doesn't really feel like taking out the trash right now because he's in the middle of watching his favorite TV show. And maybe the only way he gets through the day is by knowing he can come home and just chill on the couch and not get nagged. And he will take out the trash when he's ready. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck about taking out the trash and he knows that you'll just take it out anyway. So maybe all of that context is a little more exactly that context that you weren't thinking of when you're emotional and angry in that moment. And so a lot of the time, if we can do the work and take a step back and go, am I God? Am I divine creator and ruler of the fucking universe? Am I going to say what everyone should do at all points in time? Which wouldn't be fun, by the way. If everybody in the entire universe did everything you wanted at all points in time, you would start to feel very fucking lonely. You'd start to feel like, does no one have any free will? Do they just do what I want? That would be like entering cheat codes in a video game. It's no longer fun. There's no longer a challenge if everyone does everything you want. So secretly, the thing that your brain thinks that it wants, secretly it doesn't actually want that. You don't really want everyone in the entire world to do everything you want at all points in time because they'd have no free will. They'd be like NPCs, just puppets doing everything you want. That would be scary and lonely. So yeah, you secretly like it when people do what they fucking want, even if you argue with it in the moment. So all of that can help to realize, even when you're emotional and angry in the moment and saying, no, wrong, Andy and Emmy, you guys are dumb. My husband should take out the trash. You guys are actually factually wrong. Okay, God, fucking just tell us all. We will bow down to you and your ego. Tell us all what to do. But the ego can be very tenacious and vicious in that moment, can't it? It can be very aggressive and
Yeah.
like a little dog,
Yeah, absolutely.
angry little dog.
And maybe just without going through all of the steps, the condensed version of the work, it's basically just questioning the beliefs that you have. And I think that's what's so effective about the second question of can you absolutely know that that's true? Because it gets you, it can just plant the seed of doubt of like, is
Yeah.
the opinion that I hold like absolutely concrete and infallible? And basically, no opinion is because
Every opinion is worthless, as David Hawkins says.
and I think worthless is a very loaded term, but like maybe has no meaning. Like is another way to phrase it.
Has no inherent truth in it. It might have some truth in it if we go and check with reality. Like you might have an opinion that turns out to be correct when we check with reality. But by default, in and of itself, without checking with reality, your opinion has no worth, neither do any of mine, until we actually check and see if it is true. And if you have the opinion, my husband should take out the trash, but he's currently not taking out the trash, then your opinion is literally incorrect. It does not line up with reality. How do we know it's incorrect? Because he's not taking out the trash. So technically, reality is like, no, your opinion's wrong. And so we can get in there and say, okay, husband, why are you not taking out the trash? Like, I'm genuinely curious. I want to see what reality has to say about this, what life actually has to say about this. Why aren't you taking out the trash? And then he'll go, because I'm fucking tired, honey. I had a really big day at work. And then you can go, oh, well, what do we want to do about this? Do I want to just take out the trash and leave you to it because you're really tired? I have energy. I have enough energy to fucking yell at you and tell you to take out the trash. I could just take out the fucking trash myself. Or do we want to leave it? Do we want to pay someone? Like, can we pay, if you have kids, can we pay the kids 50 cents or $1 to go take the trash out? That'd solve the problem. Can we figure out a way, like, can we come together and figure out a solution? Figure out why you're tired. You might sit down and talk to your husband and say, why don't you take the trash out? And he's like, because I'm really tired and I just don't want to. And then you say, okay, listen, like, here's why I want you to take the trash out. It would really mean a lot to me. And it's part of my love language that people do acts of service for me. And you taking out the trash, I know it seems like it's just a silly, stupid little thing. It's just taking the trash out, but it would really mean a lot to me. And I feel like it would show me that you love me. And I'm not trying to blackmail you to show me that you love me, but that's why I get so emotional about it. And he might hear all of that and go, oh, I didn't know that. I just thought you're a nagging bitch. Okay. I want, you know what? I want to take I didn't know that. I want to take the trash out. And so when we actually try and facilitate that communication and that understanding, we can together solve the problem. Or you won't. Your partner will say, go fuck yourself, wife. And then you go, well, maybe I don't want to be with someone that would say, go fuck yourself. You know, you can come to a solution.
And I think especially with these conversations, it's worth noting that if you're not practiced at them, they can be very
Difficult in the moment.
emotional
Yeah.
and accusatory, and they might not always go the best. Like, it is a practice
Yeah.
thing to be able, even when you're emotional, to have relatively rational conversations.
Yeah.
Because if that's, if in this particular example, if this is the first time that you're broaching the subject properly, or every time that you have in the past, it's been with a lot of emotions and it's caused a fight or a disagreement or people being upset with one another, the next time it happens, it's not unlikely that everyone's going to have emotions coming into that conversation, and it's going to end up turning out much of the same. Like you said, to ask the question, like, why aren't you taking out the trash? Like that could be a very
Yeah, if
loaded
you're
sentence.
very emotionally charged in that moment, you'd be like, why the hell aren't you taking out the trash? It's like, that's not, like, that's a good first attempt. Brilliant. I love it. And that's how we were the first couple of times when for the first, like, I don't know, 2 years of trying to communicate, we
Yeah,
were
it could be a
pretty
bit
clumsy
clumsy.
sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. But you can see that your intention is good and that your partner's is. You might not see that in the moment. You might be like, this stupid bitch is attacking me. Man, I'm going to fucking attack her first. But afterwards, you come together and you go, "Look, I didn't mean to yell at you. Here's why I was so emotional. Here's why I was so triggered. How can we solve this problem together?" And that's why space can help so much. Like, more than anything, if you take nothing away from this podcast, it's anytime you're angry at a friend or a boss or a colleague or a partner or something, take some freaking space. Like, don't say things when you're in the middle of anger, fear, frustration, any of the lower emotions, any of the base level emotions. Don't say a single word other than maybe, hey, listen, I'm just going for a walk. I'm really annoyed. I just need to take some me time. I need some space. Don't say anything other than that because you're going to regret it. Something that helped us was saying, will I regret saying this in the morning? And you want to say it. You got that
Probably.
vicious little hateful thing on your tongue and you're like, I want to say this thing because I know it's going to hurt her. Then I get to say I win. And you're about to say it and then you're like, bro, I'm just going to have to do damage control after this. I'm going to have to fix this tomorrow. I'm going to have to be like, I'm sorry. Like, if I know I'm going to say sorry tomorrow, I'm just not going to fucking say it. And that was so difficult for the first 4 years. We were not perfect at that. You do not need to be perfect.
I think
Holy crap, we were not perfect.
on that particular topic, and it's maybe not the most loving way to think about it, but at least something that helped, that felt like a baby step, was, in a way, I would say, if I'm not the asshole, I win.
No,
So
yeah, no, I did that too. Yeah, I did that too. I was like, all right, let me be the bigger man here.
yeah, so
And then you'd hold it in, and then you'd come back the next day, which was still useful. You'd come back the next day and you'd be like, listen, I wanted to say some really horrible shit to you yesterday, but I didn't. And you did say some horrible shit to me. So, yeah, I'm just letting you know that, like, I did that. You did that too.
yeah,
We'd
but
be like,
it
just letting you know I was the bigger person. And you're like, thanks, I really appreciate that. Thank you for not saying that to me. And then you were like, oh, yeah, no, I'm glad I was the bigger person.
and basically, like, if you kind of get into a position where you both don't say the thing because you're both wanting to be the bigger person, then you basically do avoid conflict, and you can come back and have that conversation
Yeah, and
when you're not so mad.
to be very clear, we are not saying never talk about it.
No, of course, yeah.
Like, we're not saying repress it and suppress it forever and go, well, this triggers me. And there's been some things that have upset you from your past or from our past where you've wanted to avoid them and never talk about them. And so we've done a whole bunch of videos of how to deal with stuff that you're bottling up, but writing it down really helps. You found that really useful. You'd write down every thing that was upsetting you from the past, and I would just read it in my own time, like away from you or sometimes with you. That really helped, like journaling it. Or we did couples therapy like once. We both have independent coaches that we talk to. That's basically like therapists, and we talk about the relationship to them. So that's like independent couples therapy. We've done quite a bit of that, and we talk to friends and stuff like that. But yeah, we're not saying to suppress it forever. Eventually you want to talk about it, but at least not in that emotionally charged, heated moment where you're about to say something that you know you're going to regret, and you're like, and you're like a little dog, like growling at the other person about to bite them.
Yeah, and maybe it can be like a prideful, egotistical thing to initially to let go and not say that. But I think eventually as time goes on, you can move up to like a higher more loving place
Yeah.
where it's like, no, I don't want to hurt myself or the other person. And then you start feeling a lot more love. Like ultimately, all of this is maybe we've spoken about sometimes like avoiding the tree or like conflict resolution, like not running towards the problem. But there's also the flip side of that, which is fostering a lot of love and compassion for the other person, and understanding. I think that's what a lot of this is
Yeah.
just understanding your partner and where they're coming from and why they're doing the things that they're doing and having love for that and their own, I guess, idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, and a big part of this was us asking each other, why do you do that? And asking it when we're calm, like not in the moment. The next day, being like, hey, I really do want to understand, and I'm going to try so hard not to be judgmental. I can't promise I will be completely judgmental. I might judge you. I'll try really hard not to. Why don't you ever do the dishes? And then the other person might be like, because I don't want to. And you're like, I know, but I'm genuinely trying to understand here, and I promise this isn't like a trick to start attacking you or something. Why don't you want to? Like we obviously have different opinions. I want the dishes to be clean. You don't. Is it that you just like it never really bothered you? Like you're chill with waiting a few days, and it might not be that deep. Like the other person might be like, I don't know, I just don't care about the dishes. And then you can go, okay, so what I've learned is they just don't care. Like there's lots of stuff I don't care about, and they just don't care about this. I can't make them care about something they don't care about. Or I can if I make it in their best interest. So I could explain to them why having the dishes clean is really meaningful to me, and then maybe that's enough. And they go, yeah, you know what? I want to clean the dishes because I love you and I want you to be happy. Maybe that's enough. And you're not doing that in an emotionally manipulative way of like, if you loved me, you'd clean the dishes. No, you're just explaining and seeing if they want to do the dishes. Or maybe you say, I could make it in their best interest. What if, okay, would you clean the dishes if I did something that you don't really like doing? Like, what if I vacuum all the floors, which you hate vacuuming? What if I do that and you do the dishes? The person might hear that and go, well, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we do that? Or I will fucking pay you $20 if you do the dishes each time. And then the person goes, fuck yeah. Yeah, bro, I'll do the dishes for $20, of course. Like making it in their best interest instead of just hating the fact that they're not doing that. And relationships are a whole lot of like problem solving. Like you're trying to find solutions. Like either I'm going to let it go and I'll just do the dishes myself and I won't need you to do them, or I'll make it in your best interest and ask you if you want to. And then you'll say, hell yeah, I want to. You're going to pay me or you're going to do the vacuuming? Hell yeah. There's a whole lot of that in relationships. And maybe we didn't talk about this at all, given the title of this podcast was going to be We Built This Relationship Intentionally. We didn't really talk about how we built anything, but we've done enough videos on this. I think more than anything, you know, if I sum it up, because I got a coaching call in a little bit, so I got to go. But we've just seen our relationship as a garden and we've watered it every day, every week, every month, every year. We've put a lot of love into it, a lot of time, a lot of attention. We've put a lot of love into ourselves. I think that's probably the best relationship skill we could ever give anyone or advice is look after yourself, improve yourself, make yourself happy, do everything you can to love yourself. Do things like write a list of 50 things about yourself that are likable so that you really start to like yourself, build that self-esteem, set some goals, achieve them, all of that, and then help your partner with all of that themselves too. It is in lifting yourself and the other person up that you really build a relationship. Like, I think that's probably, if you were to sum our entire relationship up, more than anything, we've seen it as a self-improvement project, and we've seen ourselves individually as self-improvement projects. That's probably our entire relationship summed up in one sentence. It's a self-improvement project. We've improved it every single week.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more complicated than that. It's like just give love to you, you give love to me, I give love to myself, you give love to yourself. There you go. There's 4 avenues for love in this relationship, and then we love, I guess the 5th one is we both love the relationship itself. And so all of that love, those 5 different avenues for love, self-love, loving each other, and loving the relationship, that's how you build it. You know, doing weekly accountability check-ins helps a little bit too. Every single Monday, we go for a big long walk all day. We just spend the whole day together. How's the relationship going? What do we want to improve? How's your life going? What do you want to improve? How are your goals? Did you do what you said you were going to do this week? If not, like, what do we need to change? We keep each other accountable with our individual lives and goals, and then the relationship goals. And again, that's just seeing it as a self-improvement project. It's not any more exciting than that.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add before we finish up? All right, wonderful, lovely human beings. If you want my help with any of this, probably the Play to Win video course is the best place to start with. It's a whole lot of like mindset stuff and how to be happy and how to set goals, how to achieve them, how to deal with your fears, conflict resolution, little bits of that in there as well. I also have coaching, so there's links in the description below to that. As always, ladies and gentlemen,
Go out there and crush your goals.
go crush your goals if you want to, and if you don't, why the fuck are you watching our channel? Could you imagine if someone fucking hated
I'm
self-improvement
not watching your channel.
and they're like, I hate success.
That doesn't
Goals
make any
make me
sense.
so unhappy. I can't imagine setting a goal and then achieving it. That's disgusting. I just want to watch Minecraft videos on YouTube.
Minecraft videos.
Shout outs to anyone that watches Minecraft videos on YouTube.
I don't think adults watch Minecraft videos.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah,
You
probably.
sure?
I don't fucking know. I've never even heard of YouTube. I don't know what that is. Anyway, you're so pretty and I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for
Don't
you too.
fucking touch my leg.
Touch
Holy shit.
No
Sexual
touching
assault.
on
You didn't
anything.
ask consent. Anyway, goodbye, everyone. Bye. This has gone on way too long. This is like a bad outro. I'm not happy with this. I don't think we upload this.